what is sort of the right way of talking to people about issues of weight loss and health? What gets to the root of it, as it were?
Well, number one, if you're overweight, you don't have an Ozempic deficiency. You don't have a Manjaro deficiency. You don't have a metformin deficiency. What you have is a poor lifestyle. And people
Love
don't
Don't
people
don't
don't
tell
like
me that. Don't tell me that. No. No. Evil. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, here to help you think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. And speaking of feeling better, Big Pharma is still fighting to keep us hooked. And today we're going to talk about their latest scheme. It's very interesting. Get this. So you've got this pharmaceutical enterprise, Eli Lilly and Company. It's a drug company that's had its hand in all kinds of meds, from Prozac to COVID therapies and the like. Manjaro is this med for diabetes that's now being used for weight loss. It's among their top sellers. And they don't just push these meds. They're now coming up with what amounts to more or less just like a kind of marketing scheme that bypasses your doctor. So, according to a report by NBC News, Lilly CEO David Ricks said that they were pushing the notion of shipping the medication directly to patients via telehealth visits so they wouldn't even need to consult their own doctors. Now, I'm all for medical freedom, obviously, but this smacks to me more of a marketing gimmick to increase sales and profits than anything else. You see, gang, obesity is big in America, pun intended. All right. It's a huge problem. 40% of adults are obese. And so, of course, we shouldn't be surprised to see Big Pharma trying to get their hands into the diet industry and capitalize off this. And by making weight loss supplements and drugs making us dependent on these weight loss supplements and drugs, we end up becoming dependent on them. Now, as many of you know, this is personal for me. Okay. I recently lost 60 pounds over the course of 8 months without resorting to a single drug. And this is why I believe what they're doing bothers me so much. I just can't help but think they're trying to enslave 40% of Americans to Big Pharma instead of just helping them to get to the root of their health issues and make lasting, holistic changes. So this is what I did, and that is what our guest today is all about. We are so blessed to have an insider's connection with a doctor who practices regenerative medicine and approaches weight loss using sustainable natural means. We're grateful to have our sponsor and dear friend, Dr. Sarah Doyle, back with us today. Not only is Sarah a fellow Turley talker patriot herself, but she's a certified functional medical practitioner who co-founded Heal Well Regenerative Institute in Miami Beach, where she created a proven system for health restoration and transformation. And she is graciously offering to our Turley Talks family a super awesome discount on her 8-week men's biohacking bootcamp or her 8-week women's Up Woman Tribe when you book a free call with her just by clicking on the link below. So welcome back, Dr. Sarah. It's great to see you here.
Thanks so much for having me, Steve. It's always a pleasure to be here. Your audience members are so gracious and well-informed, and I enjoyed communicating with them after the last session that we had, for sure.
Yeah, well, they love you. That's for sure. We got some amazing feedback on that. Your expertise in functional medicine contributes valuable insights to the whole critical discourse surrounding health and wellness. I know you've already helped so many Turley talkers. I've heard back and love it. Last time you were here with us, you reminded us that losing weight is paramount when it comes to disease prevention. In light of this, and in your estimation, what's going on with big pharma and government trying to push doctors out of the equation when it comes to purchasing their products?
Well, I love America and I love capitalism, but in any industry, there's always going to be opportunists, be it financial advisors, realtors, dentists. And this is just one of those opportunities where the consumer really has to do their due diligence.
Yeah.
So one of the important things you have to realize, okay, so this is a very helpful drug for many people
Sure.
who have insulin resistance. And by that, I mean your HbA1c, that's your 3-month average of blood sugar control. If your HbA1c is above 6.5, you're clinically diabetic. And this drug is specifically designed to act on these receptors in both your brain and in your digestive system. It's called a GLP-1 receptor agonist, right? So these drugs will increase insulin and decrease glucagon. So glucagon is a chemical that tells your liver to convert glycogen into sugar. So it slows that down and it slows down the digestion. It tells the brain to decrease food intake. So for people who are obese, this is a helpful thing. Uh, it is. I mean, it is
Mhm,
helpful, but it
mhm.
should
Sure.
be an adjunct.
Mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
so I think that as a consumer, you need to realize you will be injecting yourself. Is there a nurse who's going to help you? Is there somebody, if you're ordering online from a doctor, did the doctor read your whole medical record? Do they know everything about you? Or is it a 5-minute screening? Do you really feel like they looked at everything? There's contraindications like thyroid cancer and other diseases where these drugs are definitely contraindicated. And the
Right.
side effects are uncomfortable for many people.
Yeah.
The nausea, also have difficulty building muscle mass, uh,
Okay.
a lot of fatigue. So for in my clinical practice in Miami Beach, we actually do offer a second peptide to help these people called body protective compound 157. Now this has been in the market since the 70s. It's traditionally been injectable and it helps with tendon, like I would usually give it in place of PRP for somebody over 50 to help with tendonitis or other orthopedic injuries. But since September 29th, the FDA clamped down on a lot of injectable peptides, and this happened to be one of them. So we offer this in an oral tablet form in a 90-day cycle. And so what we found is this will help people increase their energy. It helps repair the gut lining because they're now taking it as an oral tablet instead of an injection. And it helps the gut brain axis and also helps with some mental energy as well as physical energy. So this is something that we are doing that a lot of other places aren't. I
And
definitely think,
it seems so much more conducive to weight loss as well. I mean, I wrote it down: lack of muscle mass and fatigue, that as side effects. That doesn't seem to be very consistent with weight loss, does it?
yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult for them to maintain. So what I've heard
Right.
now is that some people are taking these drugs on a weekly basis, and then once they reach their target weight, they are taking them on a monthly basis to prevent
Ah,
that rebound. So
I see.
just
Interesting.
like
Yeah.
you said, just like you predicted, that's exactly what's happening.
Right, right, right. So what, Dr. Sarah, what in light of this and these concerns that you have, and again, I like the way you take it. You take a very measured approach with it. What is sort of the right way of talking to people about issues of weight loss and health? What kind of what gets to the root of it, as it were?
Well, number one, if you're overweight, you don't have an Ozempic deficiency. You don't have a Manjaro deficiency. You don't have a metformin deficiency. What you have is a poor lifestyle. And
Love.
people
Don't
don't
tell me that. Don't tell me that. No, no, evil.
people don't want to hear that, they
Yeah.
can't be snacking and watching TV all night, that they have to go to bed early. They don't want to hear that they can't stay up until 1 or 2 in the morning.
Do I haven't been able to do that in the last since I turned 40. I haven't been able to stay up past 9 o'clock, basically. But yes, I know that's exact. It's funny you say it because it's exactly what I got confronted with. It's like, dude, you literally you are what you eat. You are your lifestyle, and you know that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
part of it, yeah, I would say part of it, what happens is when you are obese, you have to eat whatever it is, 4,000 calories a day to maintain that. And the brain gets stuck thinking that that's what you need. So when you
right.
cut back to like 1,500 calories, which is probably what most people really need, the less you consume, and your body gets to a weight that it just likes to be without over consuming calories, that's like the setup for long-term success. And
Yeah.
that's what actually helps longevity, is consuming the least amount of calories that are nutrient packed. That's key.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I definitely could see it. So tell us a little bit about your practice. What's different about how you approach the issue of weight loss, and how does your philosophical approach address the root causes to maintain weight loss long term?
Okay, sure. I started my coaching programs in 2021. I was actually doing it for free in 2020. And then I started charging. I started figuring out that, hey, this is a really cool way I can help a lot of people. So it's a three-prong approach. And this I developed this successful program way before any of these weight loss drugs were on the market. And the number one is, of course, lifestyle, diet, and exercise, like I mentioned. Number two, hormones, because if you are a man with low T or a woman with poor thyroid, estrogen, progesterone imbalances, you're not going to lose weight no matter how much you diet
Oh,
or exercise.
wow.
And then third is I test brain chemistry, because a lot of people emotionally eat.
Yeah,
Especially, when I
definitely.
work with women, they're emotional eaters. And a lot of times it's because they lack intimacy or lack of sex. They turn to food. And a lot of times men will be emotional eaters in response to stress. Men have a
Mhm.
lot on their plate. They have to provide for an entire family.
And
It's
then
a
think
lot.
of the metaphor that you use too, right? A lot on the plate. Yeah.
That's funny.
No, but it fits perfectly, exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wrote that book, The 7X Method, because I started all my coaching clients on this 7-day reset that was based on a diet that I learned in Central America. And what I found was, they were waiting for their test to come in the mail before we could take them. So we started with nutrition. And in the 7 days, my clients were losing a pant size, their aches and pains were going away. They wanted to keep going beyond the 7 days. So that's how I started with the book. So the nutrition, it's not just the nutrition, it's about circadian rhythms and
Right.
feeding your organs and systems at certain times of day. Getting up in the morning, looking at the sun, grounding, using the earth's electrons to get your electrons all
Yeah.
calibrated. It's back to nature, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's the lifestyle.
it's literal. I was actually just doing an article on this today. It's literally re-traditionalization. It's We're all going back.
Yeah.
We're kind of done being, cyborgs. We like our technology just like this as a servant, but when it becomes a master, it really does alienate us from our ecology and who we are as human beings and all that. That's what I love about what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it works for 90% of people. When you address the lifestyle and they start feeling how good they feel, then we get their hormones aligned. And then finally, the brain chemistry. Like, for example, genetics, alcoholism runs in some families. So when we take this brain chemistry test, somebody who is maybe an alcoholic, they may see that they have really high glutamate and really low GABA production. That's just the way their genetics produce these enzymes, produce the neurotransmitters, and that's the way they're predispositioned. So these people tend to self-medicate with alcohol because alcohol binds with the GABA receptors. It mimics the GABA that they're supposed to be making, but they're not. So it's the same way with ADHD, OCD, depression. We look at the brain and we look at what chemicals aren't being made. We look at the nutrient deficiencies. And when people start balancing these, it's like they get off a hamster wheel. And the results for the brain chemistry intervention, they feel better in 2 weeks. And
Wow.
that's what makes this a long-term successful program. I mean, these two tests the test that I do with the hormones that analyzes your stress response, your 5-alpha reductase enzyme, your 5-beta reductase enzyme, those are really important for men conversion of testosterone to DHT, the active form, and then also for women, progesterone. you're not going to get these tests from your doctor. And same thing with
Mhm.
the brain chemistry. You can't get these anywhere else. And that's what makes my program so powerful. And it sets people up for success long term.
And but it what I find it fascinating as well is you're also very much interested in customizing it and to individual health as well. One of the issues I have, I guess, intuitively, I'm a doctor, but not the doctor that can help people. But is when you have someone like Oprah who's taking drugs like Ozempic and so forth. I mean, being on the pharma dole, as it were, it's basically a one size fits all approach. Take this, here you go, take this, and call me in the morning, right? Whereas it seems to overlook the individual health needs of the person, which is something that seems that your approach really centers in on that the individual need.
Absolutely. Everything is tailor fit. I teach my clients how to help themselves for a lifetime. So they won't need to depend on other doctors or chase specialists or try to get this one specialist to talk to the other specialist and try to get their doctors to come together and actually see what's going on. I teach them how to help themselves and help themselves for a lifetime.
You've been working with a lot of Turley talkers of late. Are you seeing a difference in attitude towards health among patriots? Are conservatives taking their health more seriously?
I like to think that conservatives in general tend to take more self responsibility. I think back to when I was in school getting my doctorate. It was a 7-year journey. My boyfriend at the time was a multimillionaire. And I mean, I think now he's developing an island. He's doing great. But he could have very easily, yeah, he's doing great. Good influence. It was
Yeah.
a good influence for me. But, he could have very easily said, hey, here's some money for rent so you can relax when you get off school. But he never did. He never helped me. He pushed me to work evenings and weekends because he told me that success it means more when you've sacrificed and you've made
Yeah.
that change. And I think that conservatives tend to have that perspective. When you look at economic policy, right, like Dems and liberals, like they want to give a man a fish. They have this
Right.
external locus of control. Oh, it was his fault, it was their fault, it was that, if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't have done that. But if you look at Republicans and conservatives, we teach a man to fish. We have this
Yeah.
internal locus of control, and that probably comes from our Christian roots, where
Right.
we know that God gives us talents and it's up to us to use them and create a life for ourselves, right? So
Yeah.
I have great success with your clients. I actually drop some of my screening processes that I use for the general public because I know that your followers are 10 steps ahead of other people.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. So cool. And so interesting. Right before this, it's a video I'm dropping later today as on Russell Brand and how he's turning to Christ more and more. He's actually talking about it quite openly right now, and it's very similar to what you're saying. It was when he was a fast and loose Hollywood star, living the life, just falling on his face and the fame and the fortune and so forth, very liberal and so. But now he's moving much more in a conservative direction and taking life very morally seriously and the profundity of how he's able to encounter reality and live a fruitful life is just
Mhm.
it's so fascinating. It's just so beautiful to watch. I mean, well, we've been doing it for a couple of thousand years, so I'm sure it's a tried and true path. Gang, remember, I did this. I got control of my health. You can do it too. You just have to bite the bullet when all's said and done. You can restore your body to its best health yet. And Dr. Sarah is here to help you to do just that. She's one of us, she's a patriot, and she's going to help you with God given natural steps and systems for healing and strengthening our bodies instead of turning to a big pharma that's greedy and trying to make money off of our issues. So, whatever you do, don't leave your health in the hands of big pharma. Book a call directly with Dr. Sarah just by clicking on the link below. You're going to get an amazing discount on our 8-week men or women's boot camps. get started in a path of regaining your health and ditching big pharma for good. I was actually just sharing with Sarah. I was at a YouTube conference in Cancun not too long ago. Some of you might remember a couple of the videos I did while I was out there. Well, one of the participants, they were just sitting around chatting and talking, and all of a sudden, I guess she just saw one of our videos, or she had talked to Dr. Sarah, and she goes, "Hey, Dr. Sarah Doyle, I'm one of her clients." And so we just had a great little chat and good fellowship there. She's a good patriot gal. And gang, this is we're a family. And Dr. Sarah's here to help you with your health needs. Lose weight the right way and for good, working with someone who you can trust. Click on the link below, book a consultation call with Dr. Sarah today. Dr. Sarah, thanks so much. We'll have you back real soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, gang.
You too. Thank you.